Auto sales jumped 9.7% in February in the United States. But how is that possible? I went through 5 or 6 different dealerships in the last 2 weeks in order to figure out how there can be so much stock on all of these lots, but the sales are increasing. And the biggest question is, are all of these famous YouTubers wrong? Let's dig a little deeper. Here's the report from AutoData, the 9.7% increase in February. February represented an increase of 16.5% from January and increased 9.7% from 1 year ago in February of 2023. Passenger car sales increased 7.3% and truck sales increased 10.3%. And comparing all of February 2024 to last year, we had 16.01 million units sold this year in 2024 versus 15 million sold 1 year ago in 2023. General Motors sales increased 6.3%. Ford increased 10.7%. Stellantis was the only one. They dropped 9.1%. This is my favorite part of the report. The Ford F-Series is still the number 1 selling, but it's down 5.8% from last year. And I'm going to show you why here in a minute. Silverado's up 12.3%, RAV4's up 44%, Tesla Y up 17.2%. The reason the Teslas are up is because they lowered their prices drastically, so that's obviously going to boost sales. Nissan Rogue 44.9%, CR-V up 98%, Ram pickups down 16.7%, Camry's up 6.7%, Sierras and the Civic is up huge 36.6%. I'll be honest, when I first saw this, I was a little concerned because I was hoping for the car market crisis crash and all the prices plummet and then it drives used car prices down. But then I see headlines like this and it got me concerned. So I started digging into the data. And it turns out this 9.7% number is comparing this February to last February, which I don't think is a really fair comparison. I'm going to show you why right now. Now, if you remember, if we zoom out a little bit, last year, this time, there was still a shortage in cars, huge markup, and really low interest rates. So even in January, which was the highest in 2023, at least at the start of the year, there was only 14.9 million sold. So the comparison of up 9.7 this year compared to last year, which was only 14 or 15, it's not really a fair comparison because there was a dip last year and we still had supply chain issues. And if you look at this graph over time, looking here on the left, we're talking 2016, 2017, 2018. All of these months are, above 16, 17 million new cars sold. And if you compare that to today, we're still down around 15 or 16. So we're still low. The manufacturing has caught up to the demand. We still have low demand. And we have this huge supply on lots because even though we're up 9.7%, we're still really down when you compare pre-2020 era. And I think this is a good thing, and it's a good sign for prices. They're going to continue to drop, and used car prices are going to drop as well because inventory is going to go up. Just remember, it's always about supply and demand. Don't believe any of these headlines. Well, you can believe them and read them, but you have to dig a little deeper. And when you see a supply of hundreds of trucks on lots, Ford F-150s in this example, I'm going to show you right now why that means you can get a good deal on those trucks because Fords have more stock on their F-150s and they're not selling, so they're willing to give good deals. That's how everything is in the world. It's all supply and demand. And just to prove this to you, you remember the number 1 selling truck in February or car overall was the F-Series Ford, but it was still down 5.8%. I've done videos on this just recently where I toured all these Ford lots. There are hundreds of F-150s for sale. I sent some feelers out, just sent some emails to these dealerships and asked, what kind of deal can I get on an F-150? You wouldn't believe the response I got. This is the first email I got back from them saying that they would lower a price of a Ford F-150 of 2023 on their lot from $51,000 MSRP to $45,849. I sent one email back saying I would only consider this if it was around the $42,000 range. And they immediately sent me this document back. It's basically a screenshot or a picture from their phone of their little sales sheet. And it has all of the prices in here. So within 5 minutes, conducting some emails to a couple dealerships, I'm able to negotiate what was a $51,000 MSRP down to a net selling price of $43,000. I haven't been to the dealer. I haven't test driven the vehicle. So they are desperate to sell F-150s, but they might not be desperate to sell another car like a Ford Maverick that's in high demand. When you see large percentages that they use as the headline for data, it tends to mean that there aren't that many differences in the underlying data or underlying vehicles sold. If you look at this example of the EV startup Rivian, sales were up 93.8%. That sounds like a huge number. So they are now up to 5,168 vehicles. I mean, that's a tiny amount of vehicles. It's a very niche market. So they like to use numbers to sell headlines and get you to click. And then people start psychologically thinking, oh, car sales are up. What's going on? The same thing I did with this YouTube thumbnail. I got you to click by saying that there's 9.7% increase in new car sales, which technically there are compared to last year, but this is how you work through the data and figure out what the real truth is. So even though the headline is 9.7% increase in new car sales, I know for a fact, and I've proven in this video, that you can get a Ford F-Series for almost $10,000 off MSRP right now. But if you're going to go try to pick up a Honda Civic, well, you know, they're up 36.6%. I went to a Honda lot just the other day. There weren't any Hondas on the lot. They were all gone. So I don't know what's going on with Honda. I haven't dug into that, but it's always going to be manufacturer and model year specific. So sometimes you're going to get a deal. Sometimes you aren't. You're just going to have to poke around and see what you find. Maybe I'll do another video here shortly on how to work and negotiate deals with dealers, because I see a lot of websites out there trying to teach this stuff, and it's very convoluted the way they go through it. You really just have to send a couple hard-nosed emails to these places if you're dealing with a car that you know is in stock and maybe it's the previous model year. You're always going to get a good deal. You just have to hold the line and be patient. Let them respond to you. You're willing to walk away. There's all sorts of easy tactics you can do that don't take a lot of your time. So let me know what you think. Comment down below. And don't forget to sub up